Okay, okay. So Tushar.
Thank you, Anupam sir, and Nar Parivar ko mera namaskar. Thank you so very much. And first, before I begin, I congratulate all past presidents and coming presidents and everyone. So thank you so much. Sir, when we talk about sustainability, I feel कि India में sustainability और cricket एक ही जैसे. Everybody talks about them. Very few people play it, and rather very few people play it well. ऐसी sustainability, everybody talks about them, sir. Okay, but very few people really practice that, and rather more few people are the one who are really doing it to the extent we can benefit from that. So sustainability, as you rightly quoted, is need for the hour, but from the end user perspective, I feel that something is missing because of which I may not be able to use it to that extent to which I should be using that.
Thank you, Tushar, for starting that. And Bharat, I straight away come to you. In your practice, you are certifying buildings. But when you are meeting developers and they come to you to certify a building which they have made, what is the take of the developer on this? Does the developer come to you thinking and feeling happy, भाई मैंने इतना अच्छा creation किया है जो nature को disturb नहीं करेगा? Yeah, it is just a formality कि भाई मेरे को लेना है because it can attract some customers to me. So what do you think is the mindset of the people coming to you generally?
Thank you. And what happens when the builder comes to us? He's looking at a certification from a perspective of a prestige issue. कि मुझे मिला है, एक certification मिला है, मुझे शायद platinum building मिलेगा या gold rated building मिलेगा. तो actually what happens is as realtors and as consumers, you have to ultimately talk of what features the consumer will get and how will a green building make his life better. So green buildings are actually a complete process where we look at not only the developer's perspective, but we look also at the consumer, who is the end user of the project. So if you build green, what does the consumer get? So that is what the realtors should now talk about. What the consumer is getting from a green building and how it will improve his life, how it would reduce his operating expenses, how it will help him be leading a happier life in a greener surroundings, in a more natural surroundings, in a better surroundings. So green buildings is about improving the standard of living of your customer and the consumer.
So Bharat, tell me one more thing in continuation of the same thing. When you're talking about benefit to the end user, benefit to the consumer, is there a cost benefit also to the end user when he's in a green building?
When we build green, the biggest beneficiary is the consumer. Ultimately, he's the king in a green building. So the consumer is the guy who wears the golden crown at the end of the day. So from realtor's perspective, when you are selling a project, look for a green rating and let your consumer be the king. Now, first thing what you look at in a green building is, it's a healthier living environment. The microclimate in a green building reduces by 3 to 4 degrees. So that is the most important thing for a consumer. He's going to live in a cooler environment. Cooler environment means air conditioning costs are reduced phenomenally. Like you're in a Goa where you're having a hot and sweltering conditions. At 30 degrees, you're feeling hot. But if you could reduce your microclimate by 2 or 3 degrees, your consumer would not use an air conditioning. He would be feeling very happy in that condition. Second is green buildings encourage bigger windows. Bigger windows means better daylight and better airflow. These two things help you have a better atmosphere, a healthier atmosphere in a house. So you're breathing, as you said, more oxygen in your house. Third aspect from a green building perspective for the consumer is there will be better gardens or use of better local variety of trees. So your trees would attract butterflies, bees, and the local fauna. So that would automatically make the place a happier place. So these are small benefits a consumer gets directly. Indirectly, his light bills reduce, his water bills reduce, and most important of all, his carbon footprint reduces. So that is where we are today. The reduction of carbon footprint to make our cities and towns more livable.
सो तुषार, आप दिल्ली से आते हैं और दिल्ली में मेरे ख्याल से रिसेंटली हम देखेंगे तो शायद 370 या ऐसे कुछ AQI चल रहा है. AQI
Even more than that. उससे ज़्यादा, yes.
अच्छा, 400 AQI चल रहा है. मतलब अब तो ये ऐसे बोली लगाने वाला हो गया कितना चल रहा है. तो दिल्ली में इस वक्त फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ पीपल द AQI एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स इज 400 समवेयर नियर दैट. सो तुषार, 400 AQI में रहते हुए आपको फील होता होगा कि मैं बहुत थक गया हूँ, मेरे सर में दर्द हो रहा है या मेरे को इस तरह की परेशानी हो रही है. तो जब आपने अभी रिसेंटली घर खरीदा, मेरे को मालूम है, तो क्या आपने जिससे लिया उसने बताया कि भाई इस तरह के एटमॉस्फेयर में भी मेरा घर ऐसा बना हुआ है जो आपको थोड़ा हेल्दी रख पाएगा? ऐसी कोई चीज़ें, ऐसी कोई बातचीत या ऐसी कोई चीज़ आप सोचें कि होनी चाहिए? आपका क्या विचार है? एज ए यूज़र आप क्या सोचते हैं?
एज अ यूज़र डेफिनेटली ऐसा होना चाहिए, पर ग्राउंड पे अगेन ऐसा होता नहीं है. एंड द रीज़न इज़ कि फ्रॉम द कंज्यूमर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऑल्सो, चलिए मुझे पता है पर बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो इस बारे में एजुकेटेड ही नहीं है. दे आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ समथिंग कॉल्ड ग्रीन, समथिंग कॉल्ड सस्टेनेबिलिटी. जैसे कि यहाँ पहले सेशंस में भी कहा गया दैट रियल्टर्स आर सेलिंग ड्रीम्स. तो सबके लिए एक सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट बेसिक नेसेसिटी है कि उसका एक सपना पूरा हो घर होने का. तो वहाँ पे वो ग्रीनर एस्पेक्ट को कहीं ना कहीं दिमाग में लाता ही नहीं है, क्योंकि ओनिंग अ हाउस इज़ द बिगेस्ट प्रायोरिटी फॉर देम. उसके बाद स्पेशली इफ यू टॉक अबाउट दिल्ली, और अब तो पूरी इंडिया में ही रेट्स बहुत इंक्रीज हो रहे हैं, एंड स्पेशली फॉर अ मिडिल क्लास पर्सन हु इज़ लुकिंग टू बाय अ हाउस, वो इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में ज़्यादा तवज्जो ना देते हो, बिकॉज ग्रीन इंक्लूड सम कॉस्ट टू बी पेड. अगर डेवलपर, सर आप भी एग्री करेंगे, अगर डेवलपर कुछ ग्रीन डेवलप कर रहा है एंड ही इज़ टेकिंग ऑल दीज सर्टिफिकेशंस, तो ये उसके पीछे भी एक रीज़न है कि ही इज़ विलिंग टू चार्ज मोर, एंड फॉर श्योर ही विल चार्ज मोर फ्रॉम द कस्टमर. तो इस सिचुएशन के अंदर कस्टमर हमेशा एक वैल्यू फॉर मनी पर्सपेक्टिव को देखता है और कहीं ना कहीं ग्रीन को जानते हुए भी इग्नोर करता है. जैसे जस्ट फॉर एग्जांपल, आई नो कि शहर में रहना मेरी सेहत के लिए अब ठीक नहीं है, पर अगेन आई हैव टू स्टे इन सिटी ओनली बिकॉज आई एम इकोनॉमिकली डिपेंडेंट ऑन द सिटी. तो बहुत बातें ऐसी हैं कि मैं अवेयर हूँ उसके बारे में एज द एंड कंज्यूमर, बट बिकॉज ऑफ पॉकेट इशूज़, बिकॉज ऑफ अदर थिंग्स, बिकॉज ऑफ फैमिली, बिकॉज ऑफ ऑल दोज थिंग्स, आप वो चाहते हुए भी एंटरटेन नहीं कर पाते हैं. तो दैट्स माई टेक ऑन दैट.
Thank you, Tushar. I think everybody here will agree कि buildings are not buildings as standalone. Buildings are people also. And a very important aspect of every building is how people live in them or how people work in them. आप उसको कैसे यूज़ कर रहे हैं, आप उसके अंदर कितने खुश हैं, आप उसमें बीमार तो नहीं हैं. Particularly post-COVID, there has been a lot of focus on well-being and particularly mental well-being. Because there have been rise in cases of suicides, for example. People say we suffer with, eye problems, we suffer with headaches, and we are not happy. तो ये सारी situation जो हो रही है, इसमें did you come across, Bharat, a developer who says that I'm developing something which is also focusing on the mental or physical well-being of the end user? Have you come across those kind of people who have been trying to incorporate such things in their projects?
Well, in the residential sector, not really. But when we talk of commercial buildings or owner-owned buildings, like for example, a IT park or maybe a hotel.
More on the corporate front.
More on the corporate front. So what happens on the corporate front is people are actually worried about attrition. They are worried about the productivity. And they're honestly worried about, will my profitability go up or no? So these are the people who are approaching us for green buildings. And ultimately, in a green building, the first aspect what we talk of is a healthier living environment. So what happens in a healthier living environment is sicknesses are less. Your breathing problems, your asthmatic problems, these are reduced, because what we talk of is we talk of oxygen in the ventilation duct. So we install carbon dioxide monitors in your air conditioning ducts, and then we also monitor the airflow. So these things are very significant when you talk of a air conditioned building where people then tend to perform better. We also talk of daylight. Anybody's performance goes up when there is daylight in the room. So we talk of large windows, we talk of high performance glass, we talk of double glazing. So these interventions help first in bringing in light in the building, keeping out the heat, and maintaining your air conditioning levels to a very optimum condition. So one thing what we see in a green building is healthier spaces and healthier building occupants. Once these two things come in, your attrition rates drop. That means as a developer or as an IT owner, I'm not running around recruiting new people, training new people. So my productivity goes up. So as in large, when you look at in the larger perspective, green spaces bring in more profitability to the office owner or the IT owner.
थैंक यू भरत. सो मैं रियल्टर लोगों से पूछूंगा क्वेश्चन, जितने यहाँ बैठे हैं, ऑल द रियल्टर कम्युनिटी हेयर. आप लोगों की अप्रोच क्या होती है कि घर भेज दिया किसी को, फिर उसको भूल जाते हैं, या कभी जाके पूछते हैं उससे, भैया कैसा लग रहा है, अच्छा लग रहा है, मज़ा आ रहा है, या कि भाई तुम जानो तुम्हारा काम जाने, मैंने तो भेज दिया, टिका दिया. तो क्या वो अप्रोच होती है हमारी? और अगर वो अप्रोच नहीं है, और अगर आपको कोई यूज़र ये बोलता है कि भैया और अच्छा हो सकता था अगर यहाँ पे ऐसा ऐसा कुछ होता, तो डू यू एवर मेक इट अ पॉइंट टू टेक इट बैक टू द डेवलपर एंड से कि भाई कैन यू डू अ बेटर थिंग, कैन यू मेक अ बेटर प्रोजेक्ट सो दैट वी कैन प्राउडली सेल एंड देन हैप्पीली बी इन टच विद द कस्टमर, क्योंकि हमें मालूम है वो खुश है जहाँ पे. तो क्या आप लोग ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ले सकते हैं कि नहीं ले सकते हैं? ले सकते हैं. और क्या आपको लेना चाहिए या हम ही बोल रहे हैं इसलिए आप कह रहे हैं? आपको लेना चाहिए. जब आप कोई प्रोजेक्ट किसी कस्टमर को देने जाते हैं, दिखाने जाते हैं, उससे पहले अभी मैंने सुना था कोई कह रहा था इंस्पेक्ट करिए, आप खुद इंस्पेक्शन करिए. तो इंस्पेक्शन में आप देखते हैं कि ये प्रोजेक्ट कितना सूटेबल है इन टर्म्स ऑफ मेंटल एंड फिजिकल वेलबींग. कभी आपने ये चीज़ से पर्सपेक्टिव से किसी प्रोजेक्ट को देखा कि यहाँ पे बुढ़े लोग भी क्या उतने ही खुश होंगे जितने बच्चे खुश होंगे? क्या यहाँ बच्चे और बुढ़े मिलके कुछ कर पाएंगे, या ऐसी कोई चीज़ है जिसमें कि सब मिल करके साथ? एक आप लोगों को मालूम है पुराने ज़माने में कंसेप्ट होता था साझा चूल्हा करके, गांव में एक चूल्हा होता था, सब उस पर जाके खाना खाते थे, बनाते थे, खाते थे. वो तो अब ख़त्म हो गया, इसीलिए हम अलग अलग बढ़ गए, जॉइंट फैमिली, छोटी छोटी फैमिली हो गई. बट क्या आज हमें उसकी ज़रूरत है कि नहीं है? वेयर एवरीबडी इज़ नाउ ओनली ऑन मोबाइल, इंक्लूडिंग बजाज साहब. ठीक है, वो केवल मोबाइल पे ही हैं, सब लोग इंडिविजुअल हैं. तो मैं और मेरा मोबाइल. इंदिरा गांधी ने बोला था हम दो हमारे दो, हमने कहा हम एक हमारा एक. ठीक है. सो वी आर डेस्परेटली इन नीड ऑफ अ हेल्थियर एनवायरनमेंट, वी आर डेस्परेटली इन नीड ऑफ हेल्थियर बिल्डिंग्स, एंड आई थिंक वी विल ऑल जस्ट वांट टू, आई विल गिव यू वन लास्ट फिनिशिंग कमेंट, बिकॉज ये सब लोग को वहाँ खाना लग चुका है, खुशबू आ रही है, तो सबको खाना खाने जाना है. तो एक फिनिशिंग कमेंट दीजिए ऑन व्हाई दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल एंड व्हाट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी they can take from here.
I believe that education is something which is important, and when you teach the next generation about all these things, then we will see the change altogether. तो आप खुद भी नए young developers को भी, आने वाली generations को भी इसके बारे में develop करें. Sustainability, जैसा कि हमने कहा कि built environment sector काफ़ी हद तक contribute करता है, पर उसके अलावा भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें which can be corrected. So all these practices can begin at home, and which in a longer period of time can definitely bring good results. So we together should be determined that we have to reduce this carbon footprint in whatever way we can and try to make this world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Tushar. Bharat?
When you spoke of the word education, the only person who can educate both the builder and the consumer is the realtor. The realtor is the key in the building industry, and he is the person who would take a feedback from the consumer to the developer. So the consumer has got to fall back on the realtor, and the developer also has to fall back on the realtor to get a better product out. So what is a better product? A better product is one in which the consumer feels happier, where the consumer feels safe, and the consumer sees his operational costs going down. Operational costs would be less water, less electricity, less what you call carbon footprint, and this is what a realtor has to look at. And realtor ultimately is the king here, not the developer, not the consumer. The realtor is the king, and realtor has to be the bridge between the builder and the developer. So realtors, your time starts now and is the most valuable for the building industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat. And for me, I'll just close with an example of Google. आप लोग सब सुंदर पिचाई को जानते होंगे, पर्सनली नहीं लेकिन नाम तो सुना ही होगा. Google has created world's largest sustainability fund, and Google is very consciously working, including all the top corporations in the world, are very consciously working on being more sustainable, plus ensuring that the people are mentally and physically healthy in everywhere, in all the places they are working. So, ये approach के साथ में अगर हम सब आगे बढ़ेंगे, so I want you to go away with these two questions in mind. That is finally, what I want. कि आप लोग ये सोचते हुए जाएं और इस पे कुछ काम करें, and help us and help each one of us make this a better place to live in. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm Joseph Crow from Kerala Realtors Association. My question is, I am living in a house which is 10 years old. Can you convert that house into a greenhouse? Is it possible?
Can you convert the house into a greenhouse? He's been living there since 30 years.
Sir, I'll tell you what, now a technology is available which for an existing building can calculate the entire amount of carbon dioxide it will generate in a lifetime. And we give 60 years lifetime to a building. So it is possible to calculate how much carbon dioxide this building will generate in terms of operations, in terms of repairs, renovations. And once you know that number, जैसे मैंने आपको example, I gave you the example that we burned 700 kilograms, which means we can plant so many trees. Similarly, if you know the number, you can also mitigate that carbon dioxide by some oxygen generating sort of a solution to that, where you say, I'll replace this carbon dioxide with so much of oxygen. So that is possible. Any building can be converted into a green building.
Thank you.
In fact, we are talking about net zero. So this will help you become near zero for an existing building. But when you are designing a building and planning a building, then you can do two things. One, reduce during the design and the production stage, and two, to reduce the carbon dioxide in the operation stage. And then in totality to mitigate that by replenishing it with oxygen.
We will now have the
thank
next
you. We have your
question. Next
contact
question.
number.
Can we have
Hello?
the last question? The
Hello?
last question for today.
Sir, what would be the percentage increase in the construction cost?
Hello.
What would be the percentage increase in the construction cost if a developer wants to completely
Sir,
do
on the
a
cost
green
side.
building?
IGBC was formed in 2001. That time there were no green materials in India. We had imported waterless urinals from America or Europe or whatever. Today, waterless urinals are available at a very low cost in India. Two flush system is available. Green materials are available. The standards have come in, materials are coming in. Today, materials are available across in any store. The cost of building a green building today is as much as it would cost to build a normal building. There are no escalated costs. It's only a thing of mindset change and specification change. So for example, if you reduce your electricity cost by building green, your cost of wiring goes down, your cost of your transformer goes down, the cost of your infrastructure is dropping phenomenally. So build green and save costs. Your cost will not go up.
Thank you.
Last question, the one in black, yes.
It's like you'll shut off the mic when the buzzer went off.
you can shout out.
Can,
Hello, my name is Rick Bantelman. I'm from Australia, and you probably, well, I need to tell you that Australia is really accelerating in green energy and green homes, and we expect to achieve our targets by 2040, which will be totally net zero in Australia. But I think for everyone here, it's important to understand that when you build green, you're going to make more money overall. It's difficult to do. You have to have a mindset change, but once you get that education, you would be absolutely crazy not to build green. And it's been proven all around the world, in the Western world, and certainly in Australia. So I recommend to all the developers here that you do consider green and build green.
So thank you very much for supporting the thought. And in fact, my inspiration has been a small house in Melbourne, which is self-sufficient not only in terms of water and power, but also food. They grow their own food in that house, and which is built on just 80 square yards. Own food, own fish, own mushrooms, everything within that house, no outside intake. So we have that opportunity in India also. We just need, like I said, we just need the mindset. Thank you very much. We are all hungry, so thank you so much.
thank you so much, and I'd request you to remain on stage. I would request Ms. Kirti Bhosle, Vice President, NAR India, to please step forward and felicitate our dignitaries. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bharat Kamat, Professor Anupam Saxena, and Mr. Tushar Jindal taking this session for us. Can we have a round of applause for them?